Yep. So I live in Japan and Facebook is absolutely retarded and they will not show you the time zone of an event that you create. So what's up,
I
Davit?
think I
Welcome.
think there's more
Hi
reasons than
guys.
one for Facebook being retarded. Dude, that beard is looking legit. Have you always had it lined up that good? Dang.
I shaved it today.
That looks good. I gotta go get a fresh haircut and everything. You're gonna make everyone look bad, bro. Looking good.
How's it going,
Yeah,
guys?
Good, man. It's good to see you.
good.
We've got
Good
a
to
couple
see you.
people in the waiting room before I let them all in. David, good. Have any questions? You want to go over anything?
No,
All
it
right.
all makes sense. Yeah, I read the list of questions. I'm fine.
Cool. We just kind of let Ryan lead the call,
Awesome.
and we're just here along for
I
the ride.
try. I try.
He does an excellent job.
All right. Well, we're gonna let people in here. I guess we want to
Yep.
start off. I'll just, welcome everyone and then I want to give you the chance to kind of go over how things work on your end to be helping real estate
Mhm.
investors, like what some of the fine details about that. So, cool. Welcome,
Mhm.
guys. We got people joining, so we're just going to give it like one more minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure there are some people who are joining us live, just like watching the live stream in the group. So if that's you, welcome. Glad to have you. And my name is Ryan Sprague. I work with REI Automated. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer, and I do other stuff too.
He does a little
um,
bit of everything.
Dev,
He's the
harassing
glue
people
that
in
keeps
emails.
this business running.
All right,
Okay.
and Keith here is one of our co-founders and the CEO of REI Automated. He also runs his own real estate investing business, and he has been working with Davit Aleksanyan for 4 or 5 years now. Does that sound about
Four
right, guys?
years. Yep.
Yeah, using Conquerr's amazing PPC services. If you haven't checked out the website yet, we will drop a link in the chat or we'll email it to you guys as well with the replay. So if you are interested in working with Davit and his team, then you can take action on that. We give them our full endorsement.
Yeah.
They also work with many of our clients and do a wonderful job. So we're really happy to have Davit here, sharing his wisdom, his experience, his expertise in digital advertising, PPC specifically for real estate investors, especially nationwide. So that's
Yeah.
a unique niche operating nationwide. PPC campaigns for real estate investors is pretty interesting stuff. So happy to have him here. And for everyone who's here and joined us, welcome. Hope you can hear and see us. You're welcome to share your video. Do keep your mics muted. And let's get this show on the road. So, Keith, would you like to say anything real quick before we throw it over to David?
I freaking love this man. He's a good looking dude, but he's a friend of mine, and I'm glad that he's moved a little bit closer. I'm gonna be hanging out with him next time I go travel to the West Coast. And pretty newly married, new baby, lots of new stuff happening in life. But one thing that he's not new at is running damn good ads from the very beginning. So a little bit of history. Before I met Davit, I had 6 PPC minutes, arguably 7, but one of them was fired within like 3 weeks. 6 PPC managers. I ran a lot of traffic prior to coming to him. And my mentor ran ads through him and he said, Keith, they're crushing my old folks. You should give them a try. And I said, I don't really think so. Like, it's not really needed. He said, no, you really should. It'll be worth it. And I said, fine, I'll split my budget 50-50. I will run whoever who does better. And sure enough, they've done better. I love them a lot. Davit, thanks for helping our business be successful, dude, because at the very top of the funnel is marketing. And if marketing sucks, the whole business is set up for failure. It's so integral. It's so important to have your PPC set up properly. So thanks for taking care of me, bro. And hopefully you get a couple clients from this.
Thanks.
All
Well,
right, thank you, Keith. Yep, go ahead, David. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you specifically, whatever your response is to Keith, but then also getting into how do you, or how did you get into running nationwide, campaigns for real estate investors? And then how do you, like, what's different about that versus maybe some of the other niches that you support?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks a lot for the kind words, Keith. I love working with you. I love working with your company. I love working with your clients. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure partnering up with you guys. And yeah, and I can't wait to see you, man. Yeah, hopefully soon. And Ryan, thanks for, you probably one of the best pronunciations of my last name over the past couple of years. You nailed it.
It's all that time in Japan, bro. Like, it helps you
Yeah,
pronounce
yeah,
foreign names.
yeah. Well, a little bit of a background on myself. I have been doing marketing myself for the past, I want to say 8 to 10 years. I started marketing at college. It was more traditional marketing. Then I slowly transitioned into digital marketing and I got specifically into PPC about 8 years ago. I was also doing SEO a little bit, but PPC kind of attracted me more because of all the numbers and the data and the ability to be creative with your advertising. And 7 or 6.5, 7 years ago, I founded my own agency, just called Conquerrr. And we specialize specifically in doing PPC advertising for different kinds of businesses, actually, not just real estate investors. We have a roster of different types of clients. We have local businesses, B2B companies, and real estate investors over the years have become a huge part of our business. And we really appreciate, working with real estate investors. And myself, I actually started doing real estate investing about 7 months ago. So I appreciate
Heck
it
yeah.
even more.
What a good
Yeah.
thing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I know everything that goes into it now, which helps me also kind of refine and fine tune my PPC services for you guys. Um,
Yeah,
but
that's amazing. Because
yeah,
there probably are no other agency owners in the
None.
US who run
None.
a real estate investing business for themselves that informs them and makes them better at the job that they're doing for other
Yeah.
real estate investors. That is truly unique, and it's one of, I don't know why, but for some reason you generate better results than anyone else we've seen. So it's pretty amazing. So I'm sure that's probably part of your secret sauce there, is that you do it
yeah,
yourself, right? Cool.
yeah, being able to, I mean, when we got started in doing PPC for real estate investors, the first couple of accounts were a total fail. I'm gonna admit to that. It's been a struggle in the beginning because it's a totally different beast. I mean, you take all of the PPC best practices that you have working with different industries and you apply to real estate investing, and it fails. Like I remember the first couple of accounts we were managing, one of them was actually Stephanie Smotherman. It was Brad Smotherman's sister that we're
Yeah.
managing an account for. And in PPC, like having managed so many different like software companies, the goal is to be like number one on Google Ads. Like that's like if you're not in the first three, if
I'm not
for
gonna get clicked
budget
on.
management software, like people are not going to consider you. Like you're done. So we're like, okay, we
I
we
say the
have this
exact same
account.
thing to like
Yeah,
everyone I set up a landing page for.
yeah,
That same thing. And that is so key. If you guys didn't hear what he just said, let me just say it again, because if you're not in the top three, you don't exist
Yep.
on Google. That's it. So how do you
yeah.
get in those top three? That's the real, how do you get in those top three, Davit?
Well, in this case, so let me go back to that story. So what we did for Stephanie is we're like, okay, we got to get into the top three, preferably number one. And it's not like she was targeting like local, she was doing multiple states, but we got a click that cost her like 280 bucks. Not a lead, a click for 280 bucks. So we're like, okay, this is not gonna work. I mean, if every click is $280, we're gonna run out of the budget in like 5 minutes. So we figured out a way, okay, this is not working. Now we have to pick and choose our battles, when to be in the top three, at what times of the day, what days of the week, which locations, for us to make it more effective for the client's budget. And understand that you can't show up for every single search. You can't show up for every single location that you're in all the time. Because even if you had, I mean, $500 million, well, maybe if you had $500 million, you could. But other than that, it's really tough. It's a super competitive market, but that also doesn't mean that there's not a huge opportunity for everyone. Because I always tell my clients, because they come up with questions, and I think one of the first questions that they ask me is like, well, I'm in a group with these other investors. What if my ads show up against theirs? Am I not competing with that person, or am I not competing with this person that I'm friends with? I'm like, you're a small drop in an ocean.
Yeah.
Of the market is so huge that there's like 0.00001% chance of you
Yeah.
coming up against someone that you know.
I love how
Um,
you answer that question. I want to interrupt really quickly because I
yeah,
always say the same thing. I say, well, you have to understand your question systematically doesn't make sense. Am I competing against others? By definition, it's an auction. You're competing against everybody. But here's the thing: when it comes to people competing within a group, like a apprenticeship or a mentorship or a Facebook group or something like REI Automated, I say, well, yeah, you're competing against everybody to include people in their group. However, it's like, how many times have you heard or seen a plane crash in aerospace? You know, like never. How many times have you heard or visually seen a car crash? It happens all the time. That's where we are with outbound marketing, text messaging, ringless voicemails, cold calling, direct mail, all these outbound things is like the car crashes. You're going to hit everybody if you're in that local market. Whereas when you do this, dude, it's like an airplane crashing. There's so much wide open space. It's just blue ocean.
yeah, yeah. And to take it even further, I think if you're thinking in terms of competition, yes, you're competing with a bunch of people, but you're like, keep in mind, you're not just competing with real estate investors, you're competing with real estate brokers, you're
Yeah.
competing with Zillow, you're competing with big corporations who also want to buy a house, because you're basically fighting for visibility. If that person has a house to sell, anyone who can buy that house, doesn't matter if they're an investor, if they're buying with cash, loan, any.
The market is so
Hey,
big
Oh,
your
that
mic
it's
just
just
died.
hey, your AirPods died.
Your other mic took over though, so can you just backtrack about 10 seconds and then yeah.
Yeah. So
Sounds good.
if you're thinking in terms of competition, it's much bigger than you think it is.
Mm.
But if you're thinking in terms of the market and how big that is, it's probably 100 times bigger than what you think it is, if not more. So
Right.
yeah, so that brings me to my point is like, when you're getting started, think about how you can best serve the leads that you're getting. And don't think about, okay, who else am I competing against? Am I doing good against this person
Yeah.
or that person? Am I small in this big pond? No, just think about, just laser focus on the leads that you're getting and servicing the leads that you are getting the best way that you can.
Cool. And you know what? We're gonna come back to this because one of our clients actually, Channy, asked more about this in particular. And I think there's a lot of nuance to how the competition actually unfolds. So I do want to have you explain more about that. But let's just go in the order of the questions that we received, as I promised we would. I don't know if Carla is here, but she asked, In your opinion, what is the it's kind of a loaded question, right? We all know what you're going to say, but in your opinion, what is the best platform or type of marketing to get the best motivated seller leads?
I so you're right. It is a loaded question, and I think over the years we've come to find out that Google is the best when it comes to generating motivated sellers for real estate investors. But I would answer this question this way: if there's any platform that you have someone going to find a solution to the problem that they have, would be a good platform, because I want the investors to think of it this way. If you're running ads on Meta, or if you're running ads on Instagram, people don't go to Facebook to sell their house.
Mhm.
They go to Facebook to socialize with their friends and family.
Roll.
Yeah, and if they happen to come again, come up to an ad that says, I'll buy your house, they might think about it. They might even go to Google to search for it. Now they've come to you, instead of clicking on that ad. It's and we have run ads in different platforms, and this is based on our expertise and experience. Is we've seen that we just don't have the same motivation in other channels as we do on Google, because you want people to come to you. They go to Google to search for a solution, they take action, they click on the ad, they go to the landing page, they take action, they submit the form, they expect you to get in touch with them. It's not like you're calling them out of the blue. They know what the process is going to look like. So when you do end up calling them and start the conversation, they don't have pushback, because they know that this was going to happen and they are the ones that came to you. Now, again, if there's any other platform, maybe there's a podcast for people who are behind on payments, and people go to that podcast to learn about how they can get out of their payments. Maybe one of the ways to do that is to sell your house. And if you run an ad in that podcast, now people came here to find a solution, they saw your ad, that could be a good place for you to generate leads. But it's not going to have the same volume as Google, because everyone's using Google to search for different solutions. So that's why naturally Google becomes the best place for lead generation for motivated sellers. I mean, we've done Microsoft ads as well, another good platform to get motivation, because again, people search for different solutions, but the volume was not there, because again, 80% of people are using Google. The rest are using all different types of search engines. So if you combine that volume, you need volume and you need motivation, Google becomes the best platform to find those motivated leads.
Awesome. Thank you. It's a good answer, and I suspected as much. And this is something that I've thought about with, just bouncing ideas off of Keith's head. I'm like, Keith, we've got these big five. What are the big five motivators, Keith?
Divorce, inheritance, pre-foreclosure, health and safety, tired landlord.
And I think probably everyone here who's a real estate investor has probably thought about, like, well, how do I find people who are going through a divorce or they're in pre-foreclosure? Like, how do I find the top five? And what's your answer to them? If yeah, certainly PPC is one way, but where not necessarily that you find out that they're going through a divorce, but that they suddenly have strong intent to sell their house. But what if I wanted to find people who are in these top five and target them specifically? Do you think there's a way to do that with PPC? Or are you already successfully doing it? Divorce attorney. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the ones I thought about. If that's you, Mamoon. I was like, Keith, why don't we just make a list of like 10 divorce attorneys in every state, and then we'll just set up a partnership with them, and you could, yeah. What are you guys' thoughts?
You gotta
Um,
find the ladies where to hang out and gossip about divorce.
And nobody wants to sell their house. They're just complaining.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We'll take care of you.
I well, here's
Love it,
my
Patrick. Thank you.
thought about that. Well, not every person who's gone through a divorce, their first thing that comes to mind is going to be to sell their house for cash as soon as possible. I think a lot of people still think about the traditional way of selling their home with a broker and kind of going through that process. So now you're one step behind. Now you have to convince them, okay, this is a better way to do it. It's faster, and maybe they're not having such a messy divorce that they need to sell their house as soon as possible. But the other point to that is like, okay, well, we're generating leads, let's just say at $80 per lead. If you find those divorce attorneys, like what's going to be your cost per lead? Like is because then you also have to compare, okay, you created another channel for lead generation, but now you have to.
Sorry, you can't hear you.
Oh, dang. Mike.
We created another channel for lead generation, but now you have to manage it probably
Yes,
and
There we go.
nurture it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of work on the back end of managing that, especially if you set up agreements with the voice lawyers where you're like, well, if you give me this lead and it turns into a contract, then I'm gonna or whatever, then I'm gonna give you a referral fee or whatever that is, some kind of a referral system essentially, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think that also a lot of people, they want to hone down and people talk about niching down and getting really specific. And we tried that. We didn't have a lot of success running those ads. The quality was good. The volume was very low. The cost was high. And the reality is, if somebody's a tired landlord, then they're typically not going to type in what we call long tail keyword, like how to sell my house with tenants. They're not going to, statistically, very few people are going to type that in. Maybe these people aren't paying, they've trashed the house, they're just like done with the situation. Well, think about what are they going to type in? They're going to type in how to sell my house as is, or how to sell my house fast. And so there's really three things that we target: as is, so condition; fast, i.e. speed; or cash, medium, if you will. Those are the three. Again, I'm overgeneralizing here. We don't have time to go into specifics, but most of the time, if you think about divorce, inheritance, pre-foreclosure, health and safety. So health being like, I have to pay for cancer treatments, and safety being, I'm in a domestic violence situation. And tired landlord, think about those people. They're not, statistically, they're not going to type in what their situation is. They just want to get out fast, grab their cash, and not deal with fixing the house.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I think there's more that could be said about this, and I think it's an interesting discussion, but we do want to get to the next question. And this is from Chiani McCullough, who's one of our clients. And she asked, if many of us are paying the same for PPC, how does Google ensure that we all get the right number of reaches, leads? Do we end up just competing with each other? So this kind of goes back to what we were talking about a little bit ago, but I wanted, because I've studied and used Google Ads before it was called Google Ads. Back when it was AdWords, like really since about 2002, I started studying, how to use it with a great book called The Ultimate Guide to Google Google Ads or whatever AdWords. And now there are 4 editions of that, and I have all of them. And I'd love to hear your explanation, Davit, on how that competition plays out. You set your campaign budget, your bid per keyword or whatever, all of that, and then how does it play out for you to get in that one of those top 3 spots? And like, yeah, How often can you get there? And then when you do get there, like, and depending on how much you're bidding and things like that, these bidding strategies. So it's a little bit of a in the weeds maybe on Google, but we'd love to hear your explanation on it.
Yeah. So we like to take what I call a manual approach in the beginning when we're setting up these campaigns, because it's super easy to get lost in irrelevant queries, which basically are people searching for all different other types of services related to real estate. Maybe they're searching for a broker, maybe they're searching for a title company, maybe they're searching for a company that buys and sells houses, but they've already fixated on finding that specific company. So when we create brand new campaigns, we start basically manually updating our bids by hand, and reviewing search terms to see what people are typing to even see our ads. That way we can ensure, okay, you're showing up in those top positions because we know how much the bid needs to be for you to be there. And we can also control, okay, we don't want your click to be that $280, but at the same time, we want to make sure that you're in that top 3 spots. So once we have, that's why we tell our clients, the first 3 to 4 weeks of working with us, it's going to be a lot of learning. We have to go through a learning phase. We have to fine tune our campaigns. It takes a little bit of time to get traction with these campaigns. And that's the time that we're doing these manual kind of biddings. We're manually looking for search terms. And once we've landed in a place where we're happy with the lead flow, where our investors have given us feedback on the lead quality, and they've told us, okay, I got, this many leads this week, and I like the quality, and here's how many of those actually I was able to connect with, and how many of those I was able to talk to. And maybe these couple of them were not qualified. So once we're happy with the lead quality, once we're happy with the lead flow, only then we rely on Google's automated bidding settings like maximize conversions or target CPA to really explode and boost the campaigns and take them to a new level. So to answer the question again, there's a lot of manual work that needs to be done in the beginning, because if you start with automated, you can blow through a lot of budget, and then you realize your search terms are all wrong. People are looking for something else, and that's why you're not getting any conversions, or maybe you are getting conversions, but they're not qualified. So yeah. So we take that approach in making sure that we're happy with what we're getting, and then we scale the results that we have gotten for them.
Yeah. Well, one guy, let's see who did that. Pat G. He was like, hey, I'm local now, but the one day I want to do nationwide. Does that seem like what do you think about that? Is it easier to operate PPC in a local market, like a statewide market, or is it easier to go nationwide? Or when I say easier, like cost wise, like are you going to get more leads nationwide that you can actually work with at a reasonable price, or is it yeah, what's your experience? And then Keith, I know your answer already, Keith, but we're here to hear Davit, so
So that's exactly what I was going to say. It's easier from cost wise, because if you're doing nationwide, I mean, your cost per click is much lower, and so is your cost per lead, and so is your cost per contract. It's going to be much lower than if you're doing local areas, because if you're running ads locally, think about it, you're competing with all of the investors who are also running ads locally, but you're also competing with everyone who's doing it nationwide. So now your competition, quadrupled, but you have a limited pool of people who want to sell their house.
yeah, the market's smaller, right? There's fewer houses to sell.
Exactly, but you have just about the same amount of competition. So it's more difficult in terms of your cost. You have to start with a bigger budget, to be competitive. And if anything, the learning phase is longer
Oh my
because
gosh, yes.
because the lead flow is smaller. We need to go through multiple, number of leads to to understand if this keyword is working or not for this specific local market. So that makes your learning phase longer. And if anything, like I think if you're a brand new investor and you're just starting out, you have so many different things that you're learning alongside running PPC ads. You have a script that you need to master. You're doing this, you're doing that. You need leads to be able to practice your craft on. And so if you're running ads locally, you're not talking to as many people. So it takes you longer to also kind of be good at it and practice
Right.
everything. Where if
So
you're
true.
running nationwide, it's things move much faster.
That's so true. Yeah. That's a good point. Love it. And I wanted to ask, this is kind of an in the weeds question, and if you don't know PPC guys, then you probably won't understand this so much, um, but I'm gonna let Davit break it down for us. Um, when you're like, well, two things, really. Like each keyword is its own market. Does that sound right?
That sounds right. Yes.
Because there's search volume on it. Therefore,
Mhm.
a keyword is going to have a certain number of searches every month. So
Mhm.
it is its own market, and it behaves uniquely, maybe compared to other keywords. It's not going to have the same click-through rates and all that stuff. When you guys set up your keywords, what type of matching do you use for your keywords?
Hmm.
This is pretty in there, because there are like the AI generated matching. There's broad match, and there's like only match this word or this
Yeah.
keyword. Yeah.
Exact,
So
modified broad match, all that.
yeah, all that stuff. What are your
Mhm.
it's a very specific question for you, David, from Ryan.
Damn, man, I have to give up all my secrets now.
You don't have to. If you don't want to say, don't,
No, I'm
you
fine.
can be like, that's that's my secret sauce, and yeah.
No,
But there
no.
is a
So
nuance there for you guys who don't
yeah.
understand, and some PPC agencies may not care, and
Oh,
they may just be like broad match, bloop, and it's maybe not going to be as good. What do you think, David? What are the differences between those, and how do you use them effectively for real estate investors?
yeah. So, great question. And over the years, actually, the way that we kind of the match types that we've used along with our keywords has changed as well. So I remember back then when we were getting started, broad match was like the worst keyword match type to target. It was like, stay away from it. Every PPC book, like the Ultimate Guide to Google Ads, the one that you mentioned, would even like they had a line, a whole page on broad match saying like, stay away from it. This is
Yeah.
not for you.
Yep.
So we would do just exact and phrase. And so exact means if your keyword is I'll buy your house cash, the person needs to be typing the same exact phrase for your ad to show up. Phrase is they can add words at the end, in the middle, or at the beginning of your keyword, and your ad will still show up. Now, that in and of itself has changed over the years too. Like I'm seeing it, even if you're doing exact match, it's not really exact match anymore. Like we're running exact match keywords and it's like sell your house cash, but then I see a search term pop up for uh, who will buy my house cash. Like it tries to like find the same meaning with different keywords and your ad will still show up. So it's not really exact match anymore. So when we started seeing that, we started experimenting with broad match keywords even more because then we're like, okay, exact match is not really exact match. I'm gonna start trying this with broad match keywords and see if I can get some performance that way. So we started a lot of experiments with broad match keywords, and actually now they're like part of our strategy a lot than they used to be. So back to the formula that I just mentioned, we start manual and then we start to switch our bidding strategies to more automated. When we get to a place where it's automated and we like the quality and we like the lead flow, we actually start implementing more broad match keywords now than we used to. So like exact and
Wow.
phrase still stay there as like one of our pillars for structure, but broad match has taken a bigger role now.
Wow, that's really interesting, and thank you for that explanation. Clearly, your stuff, Davit. I've tested them, everybody. You're good to go. You're in good hands. All right. Well, we want to get to that third question we've got lined up. This is from Justin. I think Justin, are you here?
No, he's not.
Oh
At least
my
not that
goodness, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? All right. Well, what about other digital marketing avenues? Spotify, iHeartRadio, Snapchat, Meta, etc., etc. You kind of touched on this a little bit, David, but are there any others that you're considering, like putting, using in your framework?
Not that I have. So we explore other channels all the time. So we try to find, because it's at the same, Google being the #1 platform for search in general and being so effective for real estate investors, it's great, but it's also scary. Like, what if one day Google like breaks, or I don't know,
Dies.
some
Yeah.
algorithm changes and now I can't do my lead generation anymore. So we explore other channels all the time, and we test them. I like to test them on my account so that no client account is impacted with these tests. And if I find that, okay, this is really working, I usually do these tests like over a 3-month period. I need enough time to understand if this is going to work long term, or if this is just a short, I got a lead and it's good, or I closed on a house and it's good. I need to make sure that it's a long-term prospectus on that account. So it's honestly super hard. It's very, very hard to find a channel that can replace Google, and even a channel that can that you can run, at the same time and still generate results. I like podcasts. I listen to podcasts a lot. And I think that could, and podcasts, as all you guys know, have been kind of expanding over the years. Everyone's doing podcasts nowadays. I think it could be a really good channel to do lead generation. Obviously, it's going to be like voice ads instead of text, but again, it's hard to find a podcast for people who are in health and safety issue,
Yeah.
or people who are behind on payments, or people who are going through a divorce, like specific podcasts for those things. Because if you run a podcast about real estate, just general, it's not like people who want to sell their house ASAP are going to go listen to a podcast about real estate. Like, that's not
Yeah.
they're just going to go to Google. So it needs to be a place where you can find your ideal audience, and not just that, but you need them to be motivated.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a really good answer there, David, and I totally see it as well. And it's this kind of intractable problem, because ultimately in your business, guys, whatever business you run, you don't want to rely on a single source of traffic, a single channel, right? Ultimately, you do want to have multi-channel, because as you just said, David, if what happens if something, if Google breaks or they ban your account, and that happens, okay, that's a thing. You can have your Google Ads account suspended or banned. So it is important to have multiple channels. However, PPC is one to master because it's so good, because you can get motivated sellers through it. What are your thoughts, Keith, on that?
Well, I lovingly call it zucked we've been zucked 3 times this week running ads on Facebook, and the friggin' Facebook ads go down. And then I try to post houses for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and my account gets suspended. And then the third one, gosh dang it, I forget what it was. Ryan, it just recently happened, and we were talking about it in Slack, probably no more than an hour ago. Do you remember what the third thing is?
I don't remember.
Well, it's 3 times this week. I sent a voice memo. You're going to listen to it after this call and you'll be like, oh, this is what he was talking about. 3 times we've been zucked. And, you know, like we've just, I don't know if you guys have had this issue, but AT&T's network went down 4 weeks ago. The following week, Verizon's network went down. I don't know if you're a conspiracy theorist, but I am now. But you know what hasn't gone down? Google. So if there's any one spot to start off running ads knowing that you're going to be safe, it would be Google. And if there was one thing to say, hey, I don't have the money to be running, you know, it's wonderful to diversify and have 2 or 3 avenues of leads coming in. But when you're beginning, I don't expect that to happen. Like, get good at one thing, get really good at one thing. If I had to say choose any one thing, it would be Google.
Right. For sure. Well, and you've had a great experience with it, and we know a number of our clients have as well. And it's not perfect, you know, and there are definitely times or periods where it's a struggle, right? Because you don't necessarily have the leads coming in, but overall, on average, right, the experience is you get more qualified, more motivated seller leads through Google Ads than any other platform, and that's what we're seeing. So David Mello, thank you for being here, and thanks for asking this question. What's the average cost per lead if we go nationwide? Davit, I'll throw that to you, and then Keith, you can also share your data.
Yeah, I'll pull that up.
So average cost per lead when we're doing nationwide can be between $70 to $90. And I usually give this range because it changes. You know, the first month it might be at 90 and then it goes down to 70. A lot of different factors that impact the cost per lead. Some are out of our control. Some could be seasonality. Some could be competition. Some could be a law that got passed in one state that affected real estate. So it changes. It's never the same, but it usually ranges between $70 to $90 when we're running nationwide campaigns.
Cool. Okay. Does that help answer your question, David? I hope so. Yeah.
And I think that in the beginning, it's going to be high. I know for a fact that in the beginning it's going to be higher. And then as you continue to optimize your account, it's going to get better through time. So for example, I'm pulling up some KPIs here to share. So we've been running ads with Davit for almost exactly 4 years. And here is my data. So you can see the what is this called? The date range. This is quarter to date. The top one is quarter to date. The middle one is last quarter, and the bottom one is last year. And so we're really consistently between $33 and $39 for our cost per lead with PPC. So I would venture to say that when you're starting off, you're probably going to have, you know, 80, 90, 100. Maybe I wouldn't even be surprised to see $120 in the beginning. However, you can certainly optimize that. And the longer you continue running ads, so there's 2 things that you have to be mindful of. The first is that Google is the biggest machine learning that has ever existed. And so it is going to optimize for quantity. It doesn't know quality unless you feed the information back to it. It's going to optimize based off of quantity, meaning CPL, cost per lead. Your cost per lead is going to get lower and lower and lower over time. But what also is going to come with that, if you do nothing, as your cost per lead goes down, so does the freaking quality. You're going to get worse and worse and worse quality leads. And so that's why it's important to feed information back to your manager, because that cannot be done. A human needs to take grasp of this, go back, look at trends, go back to the search query. What did they type into the box? What keyword did this trigger? What campaign came up? What is the ad copy? Let's split test this and that. These are things that manually an account manager can and should do in order to get your campaigns optimized over and over and over. And it's all about data, right? The more data you have, the stronger your decision-making is going to be. So the longer you run your ad campaign in that ad with that ad manager, the better quality you're going to get and the better quantity you're going to get, both with CPL as well as your cost per qualified lead.
Cool. Thank you, Keith. And then what do we teach our investors to do specifically to help optimize their ad spend?
Bug the crap out of your PPC manager every week.
Cultivate. No, just kidding. And what do we do? We do we have a weekly marketing report spreadsheet that you should fill out. And if you're here and you're one of our clients and you don't do that, shame on you. Follow the training.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big
fill
thing.
out your marketing report and get that to your PPC, your account manager, because that is the lead quality data. And that is a huge factor in optimizing your account. Okay. So what do you think about that, Davit? What's your experience with that? And do you encourage it, or are you...
I mean, it's a must. Honestly, if I always say, spreadsheet would be nice, but even if you can send us an email that says, hey guys, I got this many leads this week. Here's how many of them I was able to talk to, and here's 2 that were not qualified, and here's why, because they already listed their house with a realtor, maybe. So once we get that information, it really helps us to optimize the keywords, the campaigns, because on paper, I mean, what we're seeing is, okay, this lead came through, John Smith, it's a qualified lead to us, but we don't know, we're not talking to the leads. So getting that information really helps us hone in to our targeting, clean up those bad leads, irrelevant queries, people who are not interested in selling their home. Maybe they're just fishing for a price. Basically clean up everything and leave the good ones. And once we, over time, as we're leaving the good ones in, Google understands, okay, this you're telling us this is a good lead for you. Okay, I'm going to try to bring you more of these types of leads. And so that's how your campaigns over time, not only they become more effective in terms of your cost per lead, but you're also getting better and better lead quality over time, because your PPC manager keeps taking your feedback and cleaning up the campaigns according to it.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. And ultimately, by doing this and improving, your lead quality, your lead cost is going to go down as well, which is really cool. So kind of 2 things about ad costs, because this is an interesting topic. But David does have a question, and there's like 2 more questions that we got. So I'm going to go back to this, but just like what goes into determining the cost of the ad, because I know there's like an ad quality score that affects your ad cost, and I'm wondering, what do you know about that, and what affects it, and all of that? How do we get our ad quality score up to a 10, if that's even possible? I don't know if that's even an impossible metric or a standard to meet. Google is famous, I think, for some of their impossible to meet metrics, page speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, love to hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so there's a couple of factors involved in ad quality score. So one's gonna be how relevant your ad is to your keyword. So if your keyword is sell my house now, then your ad should read similar to sell my house now. It doesn't have to be the same exact. And with the new type of ads that we're running at the moment, they're called responsive search ads. You can input 15 different headlines and it rotates and finds the best combination of headlines and descriptions.
Awesome.
So one of them is going to be ad relevance. Another one is going to be landing page experience. And the third one is going to be your rank, how high your bid is. Now, out of those three, we can normally control the first one, ad relevance, and the number three, which is ad rank, because we can control the bids. Now, when it comes to landing page experience, Google wants people to have a really good experience. And you mentioned site speed. That's one of those. It doesn't want your site to be loading for hours and people leaving because they can't get to the content. It also cares that people stay on your website long enough because then it knows, okay, you have the right content. People go to your website, they read, they stay there for a couple of minutes. This doesn't unfortunately work with the way that we're doing our lead generation because our landing pages are quick. We want people to go to the landing page, read, it's super short, sweet, get to know the process,
No
submit the
distractions.
form, no distractions.
Any
Submit the
distractions, that
form.
person.
Yeah, go on
Squirrel.
about their day. So to Google, sometimes it thinks this person took only 45 seconds on your landing page, then you must not have the right content on the page. So that affects the quality score. So you, in an ideal world, you can get to quality score 10. Unfortunately for us, we have to sacrifice the landing page experience part of it because we want people to go to the landing page quickly, find what they're looking for, submit the form, close, go on about their day. So we don't care about people spending hours on the landing page and reading all the content about us, about the company, about that kind of stuff. So, and that's okay. If we have to have a quality score of 7 instead of 10, but have a really good CPL and have a qualified lead, then that's what we'll get.
And there's ways that you can mitigate it, right? I remember several years ago, we tried the form being different. So rather than a one-step form, doing a two-stage form. And so step one was just the subject property address, but then step two was first name, last name, phone, and email. And then we went all the way up to a 5-step form where now you're putting in beds, baths, square footage, lot square footage, year built, how long have you owned it? And then you're going on to the 4th page. Tell us why you're wanting to sell. And the 5th page was all about the condition of the property. And like the vast majority of people, like 80-something% of people was like, dude, screw this. And they'd abandon the page. Even when we added the progress bar across the top, so it's say 20%, 40%, 60%, a lot of people would still bounce, but it kept them on. It did increase our quality score. And then we figured out, oh, if we just had it trigger the event, the moment they put in their subject property address, that's what created the lead. We don't have to wait for all this stuff to happen. Matter of fact, we can look up the property, find the dirty ARV, and call them before they even finish step 5. So those are like some interesting ideas that we've tried. I'm not here to tell you that they work, but we'll get your quality score up. They'll just get people kind of pissed off that you're taking so freaking long to fill out your form.
Yeah, well, it's something I wanted to even go into a little bit more if we have time, but we're coming up here on the top of the hour, and we have 2 more questions that hopefully we can knock out real quick. And one of those was also from Justin. Does marketing in Spanish need another campaign? And if managing multiple campaigns, what would be the additional cost?
Justin and I actually had a phone call earlier today, and we went over some of these questions, but I'll give you guys a short answer. So there's no additional cost for having a Spanish campaign or any other language campaign. We don't, or my agency, we don't charge per number of campaigns we're running. It's just lead generation. So if we need to create a Spanish campaign, we will. Now, we don't have Spanish speaking team members on our team to be able to come up with the ad copy, but I really love the idea of doing Spanish campaigns. There's two ways to go about it. Now, you can target people who have set their browser language as Spanish, but they're still searching for different keywords in English. And you can kind of mix English and Spanish together. You can have some, Spanish wording also on the landing page. Maybe you have a sentence that says we also have Spanish speaking representatives. Maybe that will entice them to submit the form. Or you can completely go and do a Spanish campaign. You can do Spanish keywords. You can do Spanish ad copy and Spanish landing page. I do believe that there's a whole different market just for Spanish speakers who want to sell their house. I haven't tapped into that market. And I would be interested to know like how big that market is, or if it's the same kind of ideology in people who want to sell their house cash. Do they have the same five motivations to sell their home, or maybe they have other motivations as well that add to those? So, and it's a cultural thing, right? People sell their house for different reasons.
Psychographic is different.
Yeah. So it's definitely possible, to do a Spanish campaign. And if one of our clients, if Justin says, I'll help you with the ad copy, then we can definitely explore that.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love that you guys are exploring things and testing things, because that's a big part of the business, right? If you're just doing the same old thing you've always done and you're not really digging into the nuances and testing new things out, then you're not learning, and then you're not able to provide that better experience for your clients. But you clearly are doing that, which is, I think, really cool. Well, Davit, how could anyone who's watching this live on Facebook or who's with us here, how could they start working with you or go through a discovery process to figure out more about your service?
What I'll give you guys two options. You can email me directly. I'll put down my email in the chat, which is basically my first name at conquerrr.com. Or you can go to our website, conquerrr.com, and submit a form there. I'll get in touch with you. We'll schedule a meeting. We usually do like a 15 to 20 minute discovery call just to go over kind of your goals and what you're trying to achieve with real estate investing and your targeting and that kind of stuff. I'll give some recommendations initially on what to do and how to do it. Once we get that taken care of, it's really, our onboarding takes a week. In a week's time, we do our setup and we're ready to go live with the campaigns and go from there.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Love it.
Well, if you want a dope website built out, we can hook you up with that too.
Yeah. So, Davit, I know your team makes some amazing landing pages. I really love you guys' landing pages. We also just recently started making landing pages for our clients. Not because of you guys, but because of another agency we were working with was taking 2 weeks to get a landing page built, and we're like, this is too long. So I was like, all right,
sucked.
Yeah, and their page speed scores were not good.
30.
And guys, if you're using Carrot or Wix or whatever,
gosh.
The truth is that the experience on those is not great. Even though they market themselves as being super fast and all this other stuff. Go to Google's Page Speed Insights. Let's just go there real quick, because this is a good experiment, right?
Do we have one of each?
Probably. Oh, do you want to do a little competition?
Yeah, we may as well show them a crappy looking website, or not looking. Who cares what it looks like? A crappy website versus an optimized website.
All right.
And
does
then I'll
anyone
talk
want to
about
share their website
yes.
built on Carrot? Who's got a Carrot website?
If you have what you think is a great website, let's put it to the test. Don't be shy.
Uh-oh. No, everyone's.
We have to have some websites here. How many people do we have? Patrick, you got a website, bro? Gerard, Brian?
I have a meeting with Ryan tomorrow to hopefully set up one.
Yes, good. All right. I'm glad to hear
And
that.
Yes, he does. And by tomorrow, he means my tonight.
Do you
Brian,
have any old ones?
I'm sorry. Where are you, Ryan?
Japan.
Okinawa.
Oh,
Yeah.
holy.
He's staying up until 3 in the morning to talk
but I
to you.
just chose what was most convenient to me. I'm wide open tomorrow.
Right on. No worries.
There we
It's
go.
fine.
Hey, Mamoon put his in. He's a goober and he spelled it wrong though. Just make sure it says group at the end and not Jube.
Okay.
We'll see what it looks like here.
All right. I put in another one from someone who, yeah, I know that. Let's see. Group. Let's see if that works. We're getting. Sometimes it takes a few seconds to get.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Holy crap. That's
Everybody,
the lowest I think I've ever seen.
This is a carrot. So typically when I have a new client come in to REI Automated and they've got a carrot site, I show them this on a live call and then I'm like, and this is why you probably shouldn't be using carrot.
So
Nice.
Davit
Thanks.
just put one here at the bottom. I want to say something about this. So just understand this conceptually. If you have somebody who has
2, there you go, bro. 68. 84.
Ryan, can you take Mamoon's and put it on the right and take whoever that other one is and put it on the left? Thank you. So I want you to imagine that these two people are bidding for a keyword and everything else is the same, except their page speed scores are different. Everything else, they're all constants. This is the only variable. The one on the right can bid less. It can spend less money, but be put in a first position. And the one so let's say that the one on the right bids $8 for the click and the one on the left bids $18 for the click. Well, it sucks to suck. And Google is going to rub salt in that wound. And the one that has a higher score but paid them less because they don't really give a crap about the extra $10. Google's not in it for your money. Google is in it for the long haul. Google wants to make sure that Yahoo's not going to come back. Google is here to make sure that freaking Bing is not going to take over. So they want to take care of the user experience and they want to make sure that your user experience is really good. When you click it, it loads. They want to make sure the data that is shown in front of you on that screen is instant. It's gratifying. It's what you need. You're not going to bounce. You type your information in, you have a good click-through rate, right? It takes all these things into account. And so, wow, now we have polar opposites. So this one that's 90 could bid 8, and the one that's 27 could bid $27. And the 90 is going to be in first position, and the 27 is going to be in second position because Google
so
realizes
this one
that
is a landing page from Conquerrr, I believe. Is that correct, Davit?
Yep.
heck yeah, good work.
Sweet.
Good work.
Cool. And I'm
And
going to
notice
pull up.
how we're not following best practices and SEO. Those two numbers are down because again, we don't really care about SEO. We're not trying to be found organically. This is only
Right.
for PPC. And yes, it's not following all of the best practices for a website. Just in general, this is a lead generation page.
Yep.
Cool.
I would say I really encourage you to go to this pagespeed.web.dev or just type in PageSpeed Insights. Put your website in if you have a website, if you're watching this or watching the replay. If you have a score less than 70, I would never run traffic to it. You're just frankly wasting your money. and people will undercut you. They can pay half what you're paying and still they're going to be put in a superior position than you.
Right on. Well, I just wanted to kind of share that a little bit. And yeah, I think so this is pretty important, having a good quality score. David, I'm gonna beat you guys. This is
this is ours. Ryan
this is
a
ours.
killer at creating these freaking websites.
And here's why this one is able to be that, because it is hand coded in TypeScript. So there's a real advantage there. So, but to be perfectly honest, 90, and it's not, you're not always going to get these numbers. Sometimes it's going to be 8, there's not 100% consistency with this tool. But if you're above 80, in your metrics, that's going to make a huge difference.
Let's show the desktop too. So about 60% of your traffic is probably going to be on mobile. About 40% is going to be on desktop. And then look at, so Davit's here, 99 in performance, absolutely stellar job. He actually beats ours. We have 98 in performance. When it comes to it, I would compare these two all day long. You are comparing apples to apples. As long as you're in the 90s, you're absolutely stellar. The amount of people that are in the 90s, so the bell curve is around the 40, by the way. If you're to take everybody's website, just point blank, your bell curve is going to be at 40. So the higher you go from there, like there's very few people who make it into the 70s, into the 80s, and it's darn near impossible to get into the 90s. It's so difficult. Really well done.
Yeah, because this is normal. Most people have this. Okay, so yeah, so definitely that affects your guys' ad spend and your because of the ad quality score, as we shared. So I hope that makes sense. And so obviously, Conquerrr providing a great landing page experience. We also do for our clients. So if you wanted to end up working with us as well at REI Automated, you would get the chance to work with Conquerrr through us. We work with Conquerrr closely and offer their services to our clients.
We get you a discount.
Get you a discount. A little bit of a discount there for you. And either way, whatever you guys use, you're going to get a great experience. Both in terms of what they offer in their PPC campaigns is amazing. Their landing pages are great. We offer a great landing page experience. And then on the back end of that, we offer, as REI Automated, a complete pipeline, CRM, dynamic call scripts, deal analyzer tool, education on how to get funding, all
deal
this
checklists.
stuff. Deal checklists,
a client success manager,
yep, your own personal, REI coach, and all this stuff, support, daily office hours, ton of stuff that you get in our package that literally, like ensures that if you're getting great leads from Conquerrr, you're going to be able to turn those leads into contracts and turn that into profit for your business. Okay, so that's what Keith has done in his business. Multiple 6 figures per month in terms of contract equity, and that's done all 100% really with PPC, right? You're not doing Are you doing any cold calling? Are you using any other?
Heck no, not since
Well,
2020.
Some people do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I
did prior to 2020, but I've been PPC only running ads on Google since 2020.
Right. So you can run $1 million business with just PPC in real estate, or more. If you put back more ad spend into it, you'll get more. Okay, it's an economics thing. And if you've got the marketing budget and you can spend more per lead, you'll get more leads. You'll win. You'll be in number one. And if you're in number one all the time, you're gonna do very, very well. What do you think about that, Davit? Anything I said there that you're gonna like? BS, Ryan. You can call BS on me.
No, I mean, you're on point, Ryan. There's different ways you can go about it. I know a lot of investors who kind of It's basically 360. You put the money that you make from PPC back into PPC, and you make more. So it's just if that's kind of your interest is to continue scaling, there's definitely opportunity there. I don't know how much. I don't even know that there's a ceiling in PPC in terms of ad spend,
Especially not nationwide.
especially
I
nationwide.
believe that
Yeah.
there is, if you're in a small podunk town in freaking BFE, Idaho, you're gonna cap out at, you know, 20,000, 25,000 a month. But even, I mean, you could spend, I really believe that you could spend a lot of money. And I personally know people who run 7 figures in one market, 7 figures PPC, and they're not, there's
You're
so
limited
many
by budget.
Dude, yes,
It still says
100%.
limited by budget.
100%. There's no way that you're going to do it. Take somebody from what's like the hottest area in Arizona? Phoenix? No. I'm trying to think of all my friends doing deals in Arizona. What's the hot spot? Let me Google major metros in Arizona. I'm trying to think of where my friend is that I'm talking about. I think he runs, I know that he does deals like Havasu, Phoenix, Tucson, Yuma. All these are different. Maybe he just blanket. Yep, he's in Scottsville as well. Maybe he blankets a lot. Maybe it's not one metro that he's in, but he does volume. We are talking more than 1,000 real estate transactions per year just in Arizona.
My goodness,
dude, there's so much potential. Your
Right.
supply demand. Yeah, your supply, think about it. Every day people die. Every day people get divorced. Every day people go in foreclosure. Every day people have to pay for their cancer treatments. These things are always going to be there. It's a percent of the population that is, I believe it's growing statistically.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The number of distressed situations is going to grow. Not necessarily distressed houses. We're not talking about the condition. We're talking about the situation and motivation that the seller is in. It's going up.
Yeah. And
tons of
and then you know, we teach, and you know, this is kind of going off topic a little bit here, guys, and I understand if you don't want to you know, if you got to go, we understand. Technically our call is done, and I left a link here. If you're interested in working with us, you can go to go.reiautomated.io/start-now. All right. I dropped that link here in the chat. We'll be dropping it into the Facebook group as well for anyone who's interested and you want to check us out. You know, it's obviously you don't have to work with us. This is, you know, an opportunity for you to get to know us a little better, book a call. We talk you through what our offer is, which is, you know, 5 contracts worth 150K in 90 days, or you don't pay. That's it. So if you join us, use Conquerrr, you have the ad spend that we know you need to get there, and you know it doesn't work out, you did all the things, you checked all the boxes, you know, okay, we'll refund you. You know, that's we're liars. But we try not to be liars. We do our best to be honest. We don't want to give money back. Can't run a business that way. So we're giving a guarantee and an offer that we know is very possible if you use our tools and follow our process. And part of that process is to use Conquerrr for your PPC, because they are very good at what they do. And then on the back end, you use our tools, our CRM, and everything else. And we basically know that you can do this because we know that you can do it more in less time, actually. So the reality is you could do 5 contracts worth that amount in like 30 days or less.
Even less
with the right amount of ad spend and all that stuff. So truth is you can do a lot more than that. So we're setting the bar there because we don't want to scare anybody, because I know it's hard to believe that it's possible. until you do it and you see other people do it. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is it's more of an exercise in belief than it is in economics. So the economics are super simple, to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest, from our point of view, because we can see it. All right, well, thank you guys so much for being here. And if there are any other questions you guys want to ask, I think Keith and I can stay on. I don't know about you, Davit, but you're welcome to ask any other questions that you have. Or if you want to see some data, if you want to see something else from us that would help give you the warm and fuzzies about working with us, we'd love to share those things with you. Okay.
Well, I got to get going here, but I want to thank Ryan, Davit, and Keith always for all the support and value that you guys provide.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Thanks,
Absolutely,
brother.
Moon. Cool. Well, if there's nothing else, then we will end the call here. And we look forward to having you guys back next week, next Thursday. We do this every Thursday. We don't have Davit every Thursday, but we may have him come back on another time. We'll see. And yeah, we'd love to see you
Same
guys.
link.
Yep, same link, same link to join. That's it. You got it.
Same time.
Okay.
Cool.
Same Zoom link, same time, and you have a great week and happy hunting. I hope you guys get lots of contracts and get those leads. And yeah,
Get some
and
deals.
if you're not working with PPC yet and you want to go to Conquerrr, email Davit, go through their process and hear more about it. I know that it can be scary, but it's worth at least going through the discovery process and hearing more about it so you understand how it all works. All right. Thank you, Davit, so much for being with
Agreed.
us. And everyone who's
Thanks,
here in the
guys.
Zoom, thank you.
Good seeing you
And
guys.
we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Davit.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.